Hello to all the maintainers, aircrew, schedulers, analysts, part slingers, and anybody else who, like me, has ever wondered why we waste so much time and effort entering the same information in multiple places or repeatedly relocating that information through various Excel or PowerPoint or database products. Hello to all the data nerds, also like me, who have developed a passion for discovering ways to make our technology make life better, make it easier, free up our time and efforts to find other ways to improve our business, our lives. Finally, hello to all of you aspiring ServiceNow developers who want to learn the platform and pursue a career that affords you the opportunity to leverage your talents to create something, solve problems, and just make life better for somebody. My name is Jason Evans. I am a retiring Air Force maintainer who has been frustrated with military information systems for about 20 years. I taught myself about databases and Microsoft Access about 10 years ago and eventually decided to get a degree in it, which I finished last month. I have a whopping 8 weeks of ServiceNow experience via ServiceNow's DoD Skill Bridge program, during which I've accumulated my CSA, a few credentials, and some now learning badges. None of that matters because I learned by doing things. I needed a project to be my lump of clay to hone my ServiceNow dexterity and smooth the glide slope for my transition from the military. That was a simultaneous Air Force and ServiceNow pun. You're welcome. The scale of this project meant I could not do it alone, and I recognized the learning opportunity this project offered for my cohort members. My team is only a few now. I'll add LinkedIn links in the comments so you can meet them. But as the project grows, others have acquired an interest. Now I can put my PMP to use and practice some agile project management. There's only one other person on the team so far who has a shred of relevant experience. My two largest contributors are from the Army and Marines. I found it's actually nice to have team members with no status quo baggage or preconceived notions. They see nothing but data and user stories I write. I feel more confident we're creating something intuitive if I'm forced to make it make sense to people who have never touched IMDS or GO81. I think that's enough background for now. I'm going to show off what we've accomplished so far. I'm intentionally avoiding the contributions of my teammates, not out of a selfish pursuit of glory, but because I want them to show off their own work, their own way. They're excited about it, as they deserve to be, and I would never take that from them. So this is the business problem my team and I are attempting to solve. On the left here, we have all the systems that, well, these are just the ones I know about, that contribute to flying and fixing airplanes and taking care of the stuff and the people who make that possible. And these are all the functions that these systems perform. As you can see from all the overlapping lines, how much duplication there is here, how much cross-flow, and just a mess. We can do it better. We could do this. We could do all of this in one system. It would take a lot of work. It would not be easy. I certainly couldn't do it by myself. And the Air Force would kind of have to give up on a lot of things that they've committed to over the years, which would probably end up costing a lot of money. But I believe that the money that something like this could save just by the lack of wasted effort alone could eventually pay for all those costs. Whether or not it's ever going to become a reality, and believe me, I'm not expecting that I can make some YouTube videos and the Air Force will be like, yeah, we should do that. In fact, people in the Air Force who make decisions may never see this, and that's fine. I'm going to do it anyway, or at least attempt it. But just food for thought. We could do this. This is what I would like to achieve. First, a single source of truth for aircraft maintenance data. That's step one. We'll eventually start pulling in data from other lanes. No duplication of effort. No putting a sortie in PECs or GTIMs and then putting it in IMDS. No pulling information from Geo81 onto an Excel spreadsheet so that it can link to a PowerPoint for the 1530. Centralized spaces for data visualization. Going back to the 1530. Imagine if the briefer simply opens their dashboard and all the information is there and it's live. Nobody had to update it. Nobody had to format any borders. Nobody had to make sure the slide master had the right logo on it for a certain anniversary. It's just there. Tightly controlled data input and automatic error checking means that humans type as little as possible. We select the data we need. We type only where the data is not going to be used directly for analysis. Everything else is selected. And those selections are dynamically filtered as we make previous selections. So not only do we have to search through shorter lists to find what we're looking for, but our chances of selecting the right information and maintaining data integrity increase. Lastly, no integration required because everything is one place. Aren't we tired of seeing something in Remus not agreeing with something in IMDS? Or ILS showing different information than IMDS? It could just all be in one place. And that's in one place. And that's what I would love to accomplish. I had to define a scope, otherwise we would work aimlessly kind of on everything all at once and never accomplish anything that we could show off. So I broke it into 6 releases. I'm only showing 3 right now. But the first release is job data documentation, and that's expected to run throughout the duration of the SkillBridge program. This is our end goal for SkillBridge right here, which is just cradle to grave discrepancy management, creating, seeing, analyzing, editing, and then signing off. And again, we're focusing on automating a lot of the data entry, like defaulting fields that just make sense so that we don't have to fill them in to save a couple seconds here and there, which adds up when you consider how many jobs get entered in a day. And then error checking so that we can't put in garbage data. The analysis is here just showing, it's just going to be a little piece of the data analysis. It's going to be just a little bit of maybe some pie charts or something based on the demo data discrepancies we're going to throw in there throughout our testing and developing. It's just to give us all practice on generating reports and dashboards. Release 2, I have a dream of bringing in tech data and publications to where if I create a job with a certain work unit code, or maybe I won't even use work unit codes anymore. Maybe instead of work unit code, I'll actually use just the triple SN to represent the part or whatever it is I'm working on. And because I identified my area of work by that triple SN, well, it knows exactly which TO step to pull up. And then I just click a link, and there it is. And then when I sign it off, well, it already knows which TO I used. So it puts the in accordance with in there for me, or, maybe it's just already populated. Maybe it doesn't go in my corrective action anymore. Maybe it's just part of the form when it gets signed off. And it's never a thing that we have to look up and get QA fails on again. And then for publications, a search tool that searches the entire library. So any publication that is in the system, we can search based on a keyword. No more opening tons and tons of PDFs or whatever. We just search and we find what we need. We can do the same thing in TOs. And then release 3, this is going to be tough, but scheduling. So I have a vision where someone in ops, an ops scheduler or trainer or DO, they're looking over their system of data and they see everybody who has training and training due. But the system can kind of tell that if something's coming due, they should probably get on a sortie this week. And maybe the system can figure out a weekly, monthly, quarterly flying schedule based on the timing of the qualifications. That might be a stretch because humans are human and things happen and we're not as static as data can be. So, but either way, it can help. And then when ATO or somebody selects everybody for their sorties and they are happy with their week, they just click submit and it pops up on the Lead Pros screen. And they see what they need. They see the condition of their fleet. They look at their long range. They look at phase hours, whatever, and they assign tail numbers. Or they say they can't do it or whatever. But it's that easy. We can still go to a meeting if we want. But we don't have to pull something out of PEX onto an Excel spreadsheet and then send that spreadsheet to the Lead Pro to have the Lead Pro tear it up and send it back to ops. And then we go to the meeting and we discuss, and then we have to update the spreadsheets and PEX or GTIMs or whatever we're using. It doesn't have to be that way. And in FHP modeling, there are a lot of science projects out there for FHP modeling. And everybody makes it seem a lot harder than it really is, in my opinion. But even if it is harder than I believe, this system, any system really, can do that modeling. They can use the historical data and figure out how much a maintenance unit can produce and how much an ops unit can fly. It's math. It's doable, easily doable. And we don't have to create a new spreadsheet suit model or all the things that MCAP2. We don't have to do all that. We just have the thing that exists for everybody. And then personnel scheduling, leave, and appointment management. How many of these homegrown Excel access things do we have that all have different degrees of effectiveness? And at the end of the day, it's still rare that a pro super knows exactly who's going to be on shift and what appointments they have. Some people have figured it out and done a great job. And I know the Air Force is working on things for this, but it could also be part of the bigger overall single source of truth. So every system starts with data. And in ServiceNow, everything is a record on a table, which by this point in our skill bridge we've heard ad nauseum. But it's definitely true. It's easy to see once you start digging around in there. So I guess the place I had to start was here at the ERD, Entity Relationship Diagram. This is a simple one, not showing column level, but just the tables and relationships that I could come up with for now. As I mess around with forms and UI and all these things, I kind of sometimes discover, oh, I should have a relationship there. But I think I've got most of them now. And then centered around aircraft, we have a little bit more expanded, detailed view with columns and just kind of what I was thinking here. I'm not going to go through and explain it all, but just to show you the level of preparation that's been going into this project. And then here's one that focuses around discrepancies and the relationships therein. And then we went into user personas. here they are. And that's what admins do. That's pretty simple. In ServiceNow anyway, that they pretty much can do anything, including mess with our app, even though it's a scoped app. Calms admin. By the way, I never actually said the name of this system. This is a draft. It's not permanent. It could get changed, but for now it's Consolidated Aircraft Logistics Management System. I was trying to think of a cool acronym, something that people would enjoy saying and maybe increase buy-in, but I haven't gotten there yet. But I don't want to waste time thinking of a name when I need to be building things. But anyway, comms admin, ACLs. I only have table level ACLs for now. Working on field level, but that's going to take some time. Pilot, this is basically just for creating discrepancies after flying for debrief. And Pro Super Manager, this is People Manager now, so you're not going to see a whole lot with aircraft or discrepancies, just dealing with people. Comms user, this is your basic user. They're going to have these ACLs. Of course, it's going to be specific to where they work and everything like that. And I'm going to have a whole bunch more personas such as like mock, schedulers, analysts, engine managers, trainers, totos, equipment managers, tool rooms, custodians, all those things. But for now, for the scope of release 1, this is all we're worried about. All right, well, let's get into the instance. This is my PDI. I've given everybody on my team access, a login, and credentials. And then this is going to be our development instance. And we created a shared PDI, which we will use as our testing and deployed or production instance. The first thing I did was to set up a repository on GitHub so that I can commit changes whenever I need to make sure that we don't lose anything, just in case something happens to the PDI. There you go. I'm not going to do it now, but I work in Studio when I need something that App Engine Studio doesn't do. But I do a lot of my work here because they've made a lot of it easy and kind of intuitive. One thing I like, for instance, is that you can, let me see something with the actual data in it. Here's a nice easy one, base. Pretty obvious what this does, I imagine. There's our bases, just the dummy databases I've put in. But from here, I can make my table. I can go here and add fields, or I can do it here. Problem is you run out of room eventually here. So I usually do all my field adds here. And then when you're done, boom, form builder. And then when you're done building your form, you can preview it right here. So that's the nice thing about App Engine Studio. But I do a lot here because it has more you can do. For instance, I don't know if this is a bug, but in App Engine Studio, down here in security, I can't add any more ACLs. Now, when you have 43 tables, 29 ACLs probably isn't going to cut it. But in Studio, I can create a new ACL whenever I want. So I don't know why it does that, but that's why I kind of switch between, because each has something the other doesn't. But before I did any of that, I did my Agile 2.0 microcerts. so that I could learn how to use this thing here. I mean, virtual task boards have been around for a while, as I understand, but this one is more suited for Agile, I guess because they changed the names to Sprint and Scrum and who knows. But this is what I've been using to make my user stories. Now, in school and in PMP studies, I learned that user stories should be, as a user, I would like to be able to, which I understand. I'm not exactly doing that, for instance. I'm just giving kind of clear, concise direction. Well, actually, I pulled up one that says exactly what I was talking about. That's cool. So as a technician, I want to create a discrepancy without having to memorize a bunch of codes. I also want to be able to easily pick from options that change and make sense as I work through the process. And then acceptance criteria. A user can navigate to an aircraft screen and create a job, or create a job against an aircraft from the jobs screen. User has no opportunity to input incorrect data. The only unchecked field for data entry is the narrative for the discrepancy. And I eventually plan to have checks in there, whereas if I have an R action taken, as in remove and replace, I expect those two words to exist in the corrective action narrative. It's kind of like the old training we used to do. CBTs for IMDS used to do that. So that's just an example of one story. Now, in these stories, we can have tasks. Now, this one doesn't have any, but create personas was a user story. And I created a task for each user just so I could have a little bit more granular awareness on the progress. And in the task, you can attach whatever you want. I attached a clip of my slide to show that it was done and give people an idea of what I'm talking about. Completed. I put my initials in there because I forgot that it does this thing, but whatever. So this is how I've been managing the project. My teammates for a couple of days were just like, we want to help, but we don't know how, and you're not really giving us any direction. And that was very fair feedback that I deserved and needed. So that's why I came and learned how to do this, and then I did it, and they were all happy because now they have direction, and it's fun to do that. Moving stuff to completed has some sort of endorphin property that just makes people feel good, I swear. Anyway, so that's the Agile board. And then the task board, it just shows those tasks that I showed you within the story, except broken out into cards so that you can move your tasks around. So yeah, had a lot of fun creating this. I want people to have freedom to come in here and experiment and learn. So I gave them all kind of the Scrum Master and roles so that they could create their own tasks and do exactly what I'm doing. I don't want to hog that to myself because I'm not the only one pursuing a possible TPM career path. And it's just such a big project that has so much to offer for so many people. I just want to share as much as I can. Yeah, so let's go back to the App Engine Studio and we'll just see the sheer number of tables I've already created, which you could see on the ERD I showed earlier. But just a couple of things I wanted to point out here is the aircraft. Now, maintainers will know that aircraft always have a status. And for the sake of this project, I only went to 4 characters. Don't hate. But then we also want to track how long that aircraft remained in that status. Now, obviously, I can't do that on the aircraft table because on this table, I only include the fields that is ubiquitous to every Air Force airframe. every Air Force aircraft has its tail number, a serial number, and they're possessed and owned by a wing and a command, and they have a possession code. They are of an MDS and call sign that's like their name, like Fighting Falcon or oh, B2 Spirit, MC-130J, Commando 2, Talon 2, all those things. Anyway, back to aircraft status. I can't say that I could, but it'd be dumb. I could have like a start and stop time, but then that would be crazy to have on this table, and it would make this table get out of control because I just want to list the aircraft and the universal properties of an aircraft on this table, so I didn't do that. I couldn't put it on the aircraft status table because all it is I could have done this in a choice field, but because I know there are more than this, much more than this, I created a table so that it would be expandable and I wouldn't have to have a ridiculously out of control choice field. But the main reason is it offers me, or it gives me the opportunity to do this. Here's the one I want, status history. So this one, driver, so this is a reference to the discrepancy. This will say which job is creating this status. And it's going to say start date and time. I'm not doing stop date and time because it's extra data we don't need to collect because I can fill in the duration based on the next start date time. And status code, of course. And then reference the aircraft table and reference to the aircraft status table. So this is a many-to-many joining table or linking table, connecting table, however you want to call it. You got a one-to-many relationship from aircraft status to here and a one-to-many relationship from aircraft to here. And then same thing with aircraft possession history. So this will be our AVDO possession codes. And same thing, you got stop time or start time and duration based on the previous record, which you can do easily with a, I guess you didn't need a business rule script include and yeah, a business rule and a script include to pull the data from the server side, bring it to the client side and populate the field for, you might be able to do it all in a business rule because that could be all be done server side. User doesn't have to see that. I mean, you'll see it once the record saves, but yeah, that can all be done on a business rule. Anyway. And then, so experiences, I've spent a lot of time with each form to make it look nice, but also one thing I'm going for is quick data entry. So data tab, data tab, data tab. If I can do that and if people can get through it quickly that way, then I'm happy with the form. So like I want the fields to be in a logical order so that the information that's in someone's head, when we do have to manually input information, that information is easy to put into the form here, and it just flows. Because the one barrier to getting people to adopt a new system is to make it annoying. And if it's smooth and easy, it's easier to achieve adoption, because that's usually the biggest barrier to implementing something new is the humans who use it and their lack of desire to try something new. And that's not shaming anybody or bad mouthing, it's just human nature. So if you can make that transition as painless as possible, and then it's easier to get people on board. Now, Tim, a member of my team, is working on some UI. He's got a login page and some stuff that he's already showed off on LinkedIn. That's pretty cool work he's doing. I'm going to be doing something kind of parallel, and not because I like my ideas better or I want it to be my way, but because I want to practice this stuff too. So I've been messing around with UI Builder, and I'm not enjoying it. If I'm being honest, it's difficult to. There's a lot that seems more difficult than it should be. As far as like, if I have a repeater to get the information into it, I first need to create a data resource, which in this case is my get aircraft, where I use a lookup multiple records on the aircraft table. And eventually this will be filtered based on who's in here and their unit or work center or wing. And that's why I have this get user, so that I can compare this for the repeater. I use the results of that data resource based on a filter. But I think I'm having an issue where this is not pulling. They're happening asynchronously, I believe. So the data I need for the filter and this is not getting there in time for the query to actually be filtered. At least that's the way it's appearing to me. So that's an issue I'm working through, but I'm learning, and I spent a lot of time on the docs. I don't really have anything else to show off for this week. It has been a ton of work, but it's fun. I don't know how else to, this has become my, I don't want to say leisure activity, but kind of. I haven't been watching as much TV or playing video games. This is what I do now because it's legit fun. And I love to learn. I'm a lifelong learner and always curious, and this is just kind of scratching an itch for now. So I believe that I can have, or we as a team can have, a complete discrepancy or JDD experience in the next 8 weeks that we have left. And I'm excited to see what we can do as a team. I know I have some incredibly driven and talented and intelligent people on the team. One member of my team is also a maintainer and had some time in mock and has some really good relevant experience for this, and he's going to be a great help. I still has access to IMDS and eMock and stuff, so getting demo data is going to be a lot easier. And then I have an Army guy who used to fix vehicles, but he's killing it. And I have a Marine who codes, so he's doing a lot of our business rules and client scripts and UI policies, and he's having a blast doing it, even when I write a user story that gives him a lot of trouble. I don't know if that's a testament to my poor ability to write user stories or him just learning the platform like we all are, but I'm enjoying the company of everybody on the team and can't wait to keep doing this, and can't wait to see where we go. That's it for this week. One thing I wanted to make sure is that everybody knows that I highly, highly encourage honest, unfiltered, unsugar-coated feedback. Let me know what I'm doing dumb or what I'm doing well. And then if you are someone who has used any of these systems and you have something you've always wished it could do, drop it in the comments. If I like it and I agree, I'll probably throw it as a user story, throw it up as a user story into my Agile board, and we'll work on it. And I will make sure you get credit for that in the next video. So any ideas you have are highly welcome, and any feedback are also, I consider any feedback a gift, and I would appreciate. So until next time, thanks.